What if chasing your dream meant leaving everything you knew behind? For one woman, that dream came at a cost her life. Could the allure of wealth and luxury push someone to take a danger ulip or worse, lead them to their death? Tonight, we unravel the dark truth behind a seemingly perfect escape that ended in tragedy. In the quiet waters of a river near Sydney, a body is discovered. But it's more than just a lifeless form. This body holds a secret, a mystery that links a woman's ambition, a wealthy man who promised it all, an husband whose devotion was overshadowed by betrayal. Stick around as we dig deeper, piece by piece, to uncover history that will leave you questioning Gervering. Meet Samantha Cruz, a 30-year-old woman with dreams far bigger than the small town she came from in the Philippines. Growing up in a modest home, Samantha was always the one to dream bigger, reaching higher than anyone thought possible. Her parents worked tirelessly. Her mother ran a tiny food stall, and her father worked long hours at a factory just to keep food on table. But even as a child, Samantha knew there had to be more to life than this. She excelled in school, driven by the desire to escape her circumstances. She was the first in her family to get a scholarship for a business degree. But it wasn't just about education for Samantha. It was about a life she envisioned for herself, one filled with luxury, power, and respect. And when the opportunity to leave for Sydney came, she jumped at it, eager to turn her dreams into reality. Her ambition was undeniable. But as she stepped into this new life, a part of her began to wonder, could she achieve it all? Could she trade the life she'd fought so hard to leave behind for the world she had always imagined? But what Samantha didn't know was that ambition alone wouldn't lead her to the life she wanted. It would lead her to a far darker place. Dylan Cruz, Samantha Cruz's band, is the quiet foundation of her world. In his mid-30s, Dylan is a hardworking man. But unlike his wife, he doesn't dream of wealth or fame. He's content with stability, with doing what it takes to provide, day after day. He works multiple jobs in Sydney, shifts as a security guard, late hours as a delivery driver just to ensure that Samantha can continue chasing the career of her dreams. His sacrifices are countless, each dollar he earns redirected into her education, into her ambitions. But there's a distance growing between them. While Dylan works tirelessly, Samantha's eyes begin to wander away from the life they've built together and towards something bigger. Dylan doesn't mind the long hours, the missed dinners, because he believes it's all part of the plan. He believes in her. Yet, as Samantha climbs higher, Dylan's presence seems to fade into the background. His world revolves around keeping things steady. But to Samantha, steady feels like stagnation. What once felt like a partnership now feels like a slow crawl. As Dylan toils away, Samantha's ambition starts pulling her in a different direction, a direction Dylan can't follow. Dylan thought his sacrifices were the key to their future together. But as Samantha's dreams began to change, so did the foundation of their marriage. Would his dedication be enough? Or was something more, something that couldn't give waiting for her on the horizon? Enter Matthew King, a man who seemed to have everything Samantha could ever dream of: wealth, power, and a life without limits. In his early 40s, Matthew is a successful real estate mogul known for his luxurious lifestyle and polished image. From his sleek, tailored suits to the exclusive party chatons, Matthew is a world apart from everything Samantha has known. He speaks with the confidence of someone who has mastered every room he walks into. And there's something magnetic about him, something that draws Samantha from the moment they meet. To Samantha, it was more than an encounter. It was a door opening to a life she hadn't ever imagined. A life of ease where dreams didn't require sacrifice. They were just granted. Matthew doesn't just offer her business advice. He promises something far bigger. An escape from the ordinary. A future of glamour and excitement. A future where she could stand by his side, admired and desired, without ever having to struggle again. As they continue to meet, Samantha becomes intoxicated by his charm and the vision of the life he shows her. What once felt like a fleeting fantasy now seems like a reality just within her reach. And the more she sees Matthew swirled, the more distant Dylan sacrifices him in comparison. Matthew King represented everything Samantha had dreamed of and more. The man who could offer her the world where Dylan couldn't offer her his unwavering devotion. The question began to linger. Would love with all its sacrifices be enough to keep her, or would the promise of wealth and freedom pull her away forever? On surface, Samantha's life with Dylan seems perfect. He's dedicated, loving, and has always supported her ambitions. But as she spends more time in the world off business mixers and luxury events, a new feeling starts to take root. Dissatisfaction. Samantha loves Dylan, but deep down she begins to feel that the life they've built together is too small for her grand dreams. As she flips through these images, a knot tightens in her stomach. She dreams of traveling to exotic places, of being admired, of wearing diamonds without guilt, of never having to worry about bills or debt again. She starts to imagine a life where money isn't something to work for. It's something that just flows, effortless and abundant. And as she scrolls, she can't help but feel envious of these women who have it all. The world they live in, where everything is easy and nothing is off limits, calls to her like a distant siren song. Samantha's dream life was no longer a fantasy. It was a reality she could touch. The problem, the life she had with Dylan could never give her that. Dylan's love, his sacrifices, his hard work, they meant everything to her. But they were never going to get her the life she wanted. The dream of wealth and luxury was a hunger that grew stronger each day. Samantha had given everything to get to this point. But the more she tasted the world beyond, the more it became clear. She wasn't just chasing success anymore. She was chasing an entirely new life. And Dylan, no matter how hard he tried, couldn't give her that. Her internal battle begins to deepen. The love for Dylan is there, but so is the yearning for something more. A life that sparkles in ways her current reality never will. And in the back of her mind, the question begins to form. Is love enough to keep me here? Dylan Cruz's love for Samantha is unwavering. He's the kind of man who gives everything to the woman he loves, no questions asked. From the moment they met, Dylan has been her biggest supporter, sacrificing his own dreams to ensure hers could take flight. His days are spent working long hours, taking on overtime, picking up side gigs, anything to cover the bills, pay for her education, and help her get closer to the future she's always talked about. His worn-out shoes, the frayed edges of his work shirts, the exhaustion and high sighs, they're all sacrifices, pieces of himself. He's willing to give up so that Samantha can have everything she ever dreamed of. Every hour Dylan spends away from home, every shift he works, every small pleasure he sacrifices, it's all for Samantha. The dream he is isn't just about building a life for himself. It's about creating a life for her, a life he believes will one day make everything worth it. To Dylan, this was all part of the plan. He worked tirelessly because he believed in her dreams. But while he poured himself into the future they were building together, something was slipping away unnoticed. Samantha's desire for something more. His sacrifices, his devotion, they were his love language. But while Dylan believed he was giving Samantha the freedom to chase her dreams, Samantha was starting to see those sacrifices as chains, holding her back from the life she truly craved. It was a night that would change everything for Samantha. The glittering lights of the luxury glass shimmered against the Sydney skyline. The air was thick with the hum of awful conversations, the clinking off glasses, and the sound of high heels clicking against marble floors. Samantha, dressed in a sleek designer gown, had never felt more out of place. And yet, somehow she knew this was where she was meant to be. As she moves through the crowd trying to make connections, she accidentally bumps into him. Matthew King, the Australian real estate mogul. He's older, more polished, and every bit the man Samantha has always imagined herself with. Tall, handsome, with a smile that could disarm anyone. Matthew exudes confidence and effortless charm. For the first time in a long time, Samantha feels seen, like she belongs in a world where wealth isn't just a goal, but a given. The more Matthew speaks, the more the allure of his life pulls her in. No more sacrifices, no more struggles, just a world where luxury and freedom exist. Right at your fingertips. Matthew's world was a far cry from the quiet, hard-working life Samantha had with Dylan. But it wasn't just the wealth that drew her in. It was the promise of a life without limits, where her dreams wouldn't require constant sacrifice. Only the right connections, and Matthew was offering her a chance to be part of that world. But there's more. Matthew begins to subtly play on her insecurities. He notices the way she looks at the guests around her. The way she compares herself to the women with diamonds and designer handbags. You deserve more. Samantha, he says, his voice low and smooth. You don't need to wait for success to find you. You just need the right people in your life. For a moment, Samantha wonders, could this be her chance? The chance to leave everything behind and live the life she's always wanted. For once, Samantha was just imagining her dreams. She was standing at the edge of a new reality. And Matthew, King, the man who could offer her everything, was inviting her to take the leap. Samantha's life with Dylan, once filled with shower dreams and quiet moments, now begins to feel constricting. The allure of Matthew's world is too powerful, and soon, what began as innocent meetings at business events turns into something more. A secret relationship, a hidden world of wealth and excitement. Samantha tells Dylan she's attending networking dinners, industry conferences, and exclusive business events. And for a while, Dylan believes her. After all, this is the future they've worked so hard for. But behind his back, someone they swept up in Matthew's opulent world. Dinner dates and fine restaurants, private parties on yachts, weekends in glamorous hotels. She tells herself it's just part of networking, that she's building a career. But with every encounter, the line between networking and indulgence blurs further, and the more she enters this world, the more reticent Dylan feels, as Samantha spends more time in Matthew's world. The quiet promises of luxury and freedom begin to topple her further away from the life shoveled with. Dylan, the man who had once been her anchor, now feels like a weight. In Matthew, he's the escape. As few weeks go on, Dylan begins to notice subtle changes in Samantha. Her late nights grow more frequent. She spends more time getting ready, slipping into new clothes that Dylan knows hadn't buy for her. She talks about business events, but rarely mentions details. Something doesn't sit right. The conversations between them, once full of plans for the future, are knockered and filled with tension. When Dylan confronts her, his voice tight with concern, she deflects. It's just business. Dylan, you know how it is. I'm building something important. Her answers are vague, her tone dismissive, as though the life she's sharing with him is no longer enough. Dylan's questions linger in the air, unanswered. Samantha, once so open with him, now keeps her secrets close. She doesn't notice it yet, but the distance between them is widening, and Dylan, desperate to hold on to what they had, can feel it. 2. Matthew, ever the charmer, begins to offer Samantha more than just luxury. He offers her a new life, one she never imagined. He talks about investments, business opportunities, and private jets for weekend getaways. He invites her into a world that promises not just wealth, but freedom, the kind of freedom that Dylan's sacrifices could never give her. As Matthew's world pulls her in, Samantha starts seeing Dylan's sacrifices through a different lens. His long hours, his worn-out shoes, his exhaustion, all the things that once made her feel loved now begin to feel like chains. This isn't the life I want, she tells herself. I deserve more than this. Samantha begins to resent the very sacrifices Dylan made for her. What once felt like love now feels like a limitation. She doesn't see the struggle as proof of devotion. She sees it as thievery thing, keeping her from the life she deserves. The cracks in their relationship become more apparent. Arguments start off small misunderstandings, disagreements about money, about time, about where their future is headed. But soon they're about something deeper. Samantha begins to speak about her future in a way that doesn't include Dylan. She talks about moving to Dubai, about starting over. Dylan, confused and heartbroken, watches as the woman he loves slips further away. Samantha's future has already been decided, but Dylan still clings to Thepist, to the promise of a life they had planned together. His sacrifices, his love, the devotion he poured into their marriage, all of it is lost on Samantha now. To her, the future is with Matthew. It happens one quiet evening. Samantha, her face cold, sits across from Dylan in their small apartment. The life they've built, the dreams they've shared hang heavy between them, suffocating in silence. Dylan notices the change in her. There's something different about her now. Something distant in her eyes. He can feel it, but the words that come next shatter everything. She doesn't apologize. She doesn't beg for his understanding. Instead, she speaks coldly as though what she's saying is just the logical next step in her journey. I need more than what you can give me, Dylan. Your life, this life we've built. It's not enough anymore. Samantha's decision is final. The life Fesh dreamed of, the life she believed was out there for her, now lies within reach. And Dylan, he's no longer part of that vision. Dylan sits frozen, the weight of her words crushing him. Can't move, can't breathe. All the sacrifices, the sleepless nights that the dreams he put on hold for her future flash before his eyes. He gave everything for her. He believed in her. He believed in them. But in that moment, everything he worked for, everything he thought he was building with her means nothing. But Samantha doesn't soften. Her eyes are already focused on the future, on Matthew's world of yachts, private estates, and the international luxury she's come to crave. Dylan is invisible in her world now. Nothing more than a chapter she's ready to close. Toddling. It feels like the rug is pulled out from under him. All the sacrifices, all the work, the love he poured into their relationship. It's meaningless. No, the woman he fought for, the woman built a life with, is leaving him for a man who can offer her everything he never could. The devastation doesn't fade. It transforms into something darker, something more dangerous. Finger builds slowly, a quiet rage that simmers beneath the surface. Dylan can't believe what's happening, and yet, in the pit of his stomach, he knows it's real. He can't just let her go. Note after everything, his love for her twisted into resentment. The years of sacrifice, the nights spent away from home, all the little things he gave up. He had done it all for her. And now she was walking away for a man who didn't understand the sacrifices that came with love. Dylan's heart, once broken, now's with a new purpose, revenge. Dylan's devotion had been repaid with betrayal. And now all he could think about was making sure that Samantha paid for what she had taken from him, for the life he had given, the years of sacrifices, the things he could never get back. Samantha, feeling the weight of everything that has happened, agrees to meet Dylan one last time. The divorce, the end of their life together. She hopes this final conversation will be a clean break. Dylan suggests meeting at a secluded location by the river, a quiet spot where they can talk without interruptions. Though she feels an uneasy chill in her gut, Samantha agrees. It's just a formality. She tells herself, a way to move on from the past. She looks around, but there's no sign of Dylan. Yet, finally, she sees him. Dylan is standing by the water's edge, his back to her. His posture is stiff, tense. He turns to face her, but there is no warmth in his eyes anymore. Just a cold, empty look. Samantha takes a step forward, but Dylan doesn't move. Samantha thinks they're here to end things amicably, to part ways with dignity. But Dylan isn't the man she remembers. The man who once loved her without question has been replaced by Simeon she doesn't recognize. Simeon is consumed by hurt, by betrayal. Dylan don't start with anger, though it's evident in his clenched jaw. Instead, he speaks softly, but his words hit like daggers. I know everything, Sam, about Matthew, about your affair, about the life you're planning with him. You think I didn't see it. You think I didn't feel the distance between us. Finger in his eyes is undeniable. Samantha steps back, her heart racing. She's not ready for this. She's not ready for Dylan to turn this conversation into a confrontation. She never expected him to know about Matthew, about her plans to escape. The air between them thickens. Dylan's breath comes faster now, his face red with the fury he's been holding in for so long. Samantha feels her pulse quicken. Dylan, please, she pleads. But her words are swallowed by the rage that erupts from him. In an instant, Dylan's anger explodes. His hand shoots out, and before Samantha can react, he strikes her once hard. Her body staggers back, and for a moment all she can do is stare at him in disbelief. This isn't happening. The man who once promised to love her forever is now the one taking everything away from her. Her hands flit over her face, but Dylan's rage has already taken control. He moves quickly, overpowering her with a strength that surprises her. Samantha tries to push him away, but the struggle is brief. In a flash of anger, Dylan makes sure it's over. In that moment, Dylan's love for her twisted into something darker, something irreversible. What began as a betrayal became an obsession for vengeance, and in his rage, he took her life. Samantha falls to the ground, her eyes wide in shock and pain. The man she once knew is now a stranger, and there is no escape. Once it's done, the weight of what Dylan has just done begins to settle on him. But even as guilt creeps in, he knows there is no turning back. Samantha is gone, and he needs to make sure the world believes it wasn't him. Dylan arranges the scene meticulously. He places her body in the right position, making sure the silk is visible. Glinting in the moonlight, he leaves the jewelry, ensuring that the diamonds are the first thing anyone will see. To Dylan, this wasn't just a murder. It was a carefully crafted story. The silk, the diamonds, each detail was meant to point to one thing: a wealthy lover, a jealous man. A life cut short. Dylan steps back, looking at the scene he's just created. His chest tightens as he realizes the magnitude of what he's done. But there's no going back now. As he walks away, he leaves his body behind, slipping into the shadows. The story he's created is a Budo unfold, one that will pin the blame in Matthew and clear his name. Everything Dylan sacrificed for Samantha, everything he gave up, this was his revenge, and he thought he had gotten away with it. But in reality, the truth was already beginning to slip through the cracks. The serene waters off the river, which had been a peaceful backdrop to Sydney's bustling city life, are suddenly disturbed by something shocking. A body. Samantha's lifeless form wrapped in luxurious silk is discovered by a passerby who immediately calls the authorities. As the body is pulled from the river, the news spreads like wildfire. The police is stunned. The discovery of Samantha's body rocks the city. Who would want to hurt a woman with everything ahead of her? The initial shock gives way to a series of questions, and soon, things begin to point in one direction. A wealthy man from a world Samantha had come to embrace, Matthew King. Detectives arrive at the scene. They rise scanning for clues. The silk, the diamonds, and the general appearance of the body suggests something far more complex than a random killing. Everything about the scene seems staged to deliberate. The press quickly latches on to the connection between Samantha and Matthew, her wealthy lover. His name floods the media, his face plastered across the headlines. The story seems too perfect. A young woman found dead, surrounded by the symbols of wealth and luxury, linked to a man whose money could make any crime look like an act of passion. Detectives begin to focus their attention on Matthew King, the diamonds, the silk, his proximity to Samantha. The story writes itself: a jealous lover, a betrayal, and a woman caught in a deadly web of wealth and desire. But as the investigation ends, inconsistencies begin to surface. Forensic evidence does not align with the story that the media has already begun to weave. The silk, so perfectly associated with Matthew's extravagant lifestyle, doesn't come from overseas suppliers as expected. Instead, it traces back to a small local shop in Sydney, a place where anyone could have bought it. Investigators dig further, and they uncover something chilling: a life insurance policy taken out on Samantha just months before her death. The beneficiary, Dylan Cruz. As the investigation continues, the truth starts to crack the surface. The silk, the life insurance policy, and the mounting evidence point to a different story, one that had been carefully concealed. As more evidence is uncovered, suspicion slowly shifts away from Matthew. Dylan's calm demeanor under questioning, his perfect knowledge of the crime scene, and his role in Samantha's financial affairs raise alarm bells. Investigators find it hard to ignore the mounting evidence against them: the forged documents, the silk purchased under his name, the suspicious timing of the life insurance policy. Dylan's financial troubles only add fuel to the fire. He had everything to gain by Samantha's death. The man who once seemed like a devoted husband now appeared to be the mastermind behind Thekram. His perfect knowledge of Thekram's scene, his financial struggles, and his motives all pointed toward one killing possibility. Dylan Cruz was no longer just a grieving husband. He was prime suspect. The room is cold. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead as Dylan sits in the interrogation room, his eyes steady, but his hands clench tightly in his lap. He's been here 4 hours answering questions, but always with the same calm, rehearsed answers. He insists he didn't know about Samantha's affair with Matthew, that Hanover suspected anything, that he had no idea why she would leave him for another man. But the detectives don't let up. The evidence is overwhelming. The life insurance policy, the silk, the mounting debt, the inconsistent statements. Every question digs deeper into Dylan's story. And slowly, the cracks begin to show. His calm exterior starts to fray. His whispers growing shorter, more defensive. Dylan's face tightens. He's cornered, but for a moment, he doesn't break. The silence between them grows heavy. Finally, the weight of the evidence, the pressure of the questioning breaks through. Dylan exhales, his shoulders slumping slightly. The quiet strength has been clinging to begins to fade, helix down, almost as if weighing the consequences of the words he's about to say. The man who had once believed in love, in sacrifice, now has nothing left to protect. His words hit like a punch to the gut. The confession, quiet but laden with years of pain, comes as a bitter release. There's no anger in his voice now, just resignation. For Dylan, it was never about love anymore. It was about ownership. She had taken everything from him, his time, his sacrifices, his future, and now she was walking away with it all. He couldn't let her go, not like that, not without paying the price. With each word, Dylan's confession unravels the truth. This wasn't a crime of passion or revenge. It was a crime of betrayal. A man who believed his love and sacrifice meant more than anything, only to realize it wasn't enough. To keep the one person gave everything for. Dylan Cruz is arrested. His confession, chilling in its simplicity, seals his fate. Betrayal is swift, but no verdict can bring Samantha back. He is convicted of first-degree murder, sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As the courtroom empties, Samantha's family is left to grapple with the loss of their daughter. Human who had so much potential, so much promise, her dreams of a life beyond the small town, of luxury and freedom, were shattered by the very person who hadn't promised to cherish her. Her ambition, her desire for a better life led to her tragic end. Not at the hands of a stranger, but of the man who should have protected her the most. If you found this story chilling, subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell icon and stay tuned for more cases that will keep you guessing until the very end.